Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for taking some time for us today. We are really excited to be meeting with you to share a little bit more of the MGT story, give you all the information you need to make the most of the opportunities we'll have to work together. And this is really, I'm just going to go ahead and say it up front, uh, probably my favorite 20 to 30-minute block out of the whole week. This is where we really get to connect directly with the agents who are most engaged, most interested in learning about MGT. And to us, this is a really great opportunity to meet with you. So all along the way, as we go through the presentation together today, please use that chat feature. Looks like we already have a Gold Star student, Fabiana. Thanks so much for using that. You can use that chat feature to ask us any questions that you have. If you see something that you want to pause on and talk a little bit more about, please use that chat feature and we'll be happy to do it. So let's just do a quick round of intros. Jason, why don't you go ahead and get us kicked off?
As opposed to all the other people on the call. Yeah, no, I'll be happy to. So, hi everyone. Dan already said it better than I could. I look forward to these 30 minutes every single week as well. It's a chance for us to interact, especially with some of our newer agents, answer any questions, help you understand the system and why it is that Dan and I and the rest of the team here at MGT are so passionate, right? Like Dan and I, especially, we're here because we've worked with agents our whole career and we love working with the independent agent. And I'm so proud to represent MGT and all the things that it is that we're building from insurance products to tech products because we're putting them in the hands of the independent agent. And that's where Dan, myself, the whole team, that's where our passion lies. So this is the highlight of this. We get to meet the new folks and you get to come in and ask questions. And we get to show you the system and all the things that make us happy. And we're so glad that you're here today. But I guess I should have introduced. I'm Jason. I'm head of distribution here on the MGT side. And it's my privilege to work alongside Dan every single day.
And my name's Dan. I'm the partner activation leader here at MGT. And so for those of you on the call, you can kind of think of me as your MGT fixer. If you ever need some extra assistance or support, you're not sure who to reach out to me. We'll get those problems solved.
We got to make that your official title one of these days. MGT Fixers just sounds like we should make a movie out of it.
That does sound actually really cool. So let's put that one
Let's
on
work
the
on it.
to-do list. We'll workshop that. So before we get everything kicked off, for those of you who've already signed in, we really appreciate you being on time. Why don't we go ahead and start out with a little audience question? This one's inspired by our high today in Richmond, Virginia, where I live, being 101 degrees. And that's actually as cold as it's going to get until like next Monday. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? For those of you joining us on the call, use that chat feature to let us know.
And while we give them a chance to think about it, there's a couple things. Dan, you and I should talk about what our favorites are. But then also, we have a hand up in the audience, and I just want to let y'all know that folks aren't coming off of mute just because it's webinar format. We got lots of agents on here, so we're going to use that chat feature. But we highly encourage you to go ahead and use that because we will ask your questions and answer them live. We love that interaction. So I apologize that we can't just bring everybody off of mute. There's a reason behind that, but I love that you're already active and asking. Oh, we got some good answers in
Oh
already
man,
too.
I can't even read these. I'm gonna be hungry.
I know. You asked the
I know,
question.
I did ask it. I kind of asked for this literally. But it looks like we got Melanie with some chocolate, Evan coming in with the butter pecan, Alexis Cherry Garcia, love that. Deepen Shah with Jamocha almond fudge, excellent choice, and Fabiano with the dulce de leche. All great choices. I guess I'm going to get an ice cream sundae after this.
You really ought to, man. Expense it. You got me officially on recording on our webinar telling you to go for it. So this is not going to land with literally anyone on the call, but I'm from originally, I live in our headquarters in Denver now. I'm in our brand new office today, as a matter of fact, which is really exciting. But I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, and we have an ice cream store down there called Grater's. And if you've ever been to Cincinnati or you're familiar with it, everybody knows Graders. And they have a raspberry chocolate chip that is like their signature ice cream. Hands down, my favorite, man. I can't wait
Ooh.
until later this year when we go back home, my spouse and I, to see family. I'm gonna get some, especially since you've been asking this question so much.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say, Jason, when you do get some, go ahead and expense it. It's okay. You've got me on recording saying approving.
I love it. I wish that's the way that it worked. We could just pass that back and forth.
I declare it. Um, well, I would say for me, generally coffee, ice cream, sometimes chocolate, especially if you get one of those like triple chocolate threat kind of flavors. I'm all about that. Mint, mint chocolate chip, another great one. So you can't go wrong with any of those. One of the best things about ice cream, of course, is that you have to enjoy it while it lasts. If you wait 3 to 5 minutes, it may melt on you. It also takes 3 to 5 minutes. It's quoting small commercial accounts and receiving bindable terms back from MGT using our online platform. Let's take a look at how it works.
It still makes me laugh every time, man. That's such a great transition.
That's why I do it. I do it for the people. So with MGT, the era of Neo Insurance has arrived. Now, I know we've got some folks on the call right now who are saying, Dan, what the heck? I was just daydreaming about eating some delicious ice cream, and now you're throwing all these buzzwords at me. What is Neo Insurance anyway? I would say you can kind of think of MGT and what we're doing as the world's first neo insurer in the context of the wider industry. I know everybody has worked with insurance carriers that have been around for decades, sometimes even hundreds of years, protecting businesses and livelihoods. And they have done some great things. But for all the great things they've done, as they've grown, their number one goal has not always been to make things fast and easy and to be responsive to you and to your insureds. You've got over the last several years a bunch of different insure techs joining the space. There's a lot of ways they can be organized and set up. You'll have your MGAs, your MGUs, your wholesalers, your comparative raters, etc. And generally, when you start to look at how these companies operate, they're not distributing their own insurance product. It's somebody else's insurance that they've just found a way to deliver and make it faster and easier and nicer feeling. A lot of times they don't even control that distribution, though. They might use vendors to build their technology. And that's where MGT is different. We are the carrier. We stand behind the claims for the policies that we underwrite on our platform. We built the technology of our platform, so it's very responsive to what we need it to do and what our customers need it to do. And we even have in-house management of claims. So we really own that entire life cycle from setting the rates and the appetite to quoting, binding, servicing, renewing accounts, all the way out to claims when those happen. And because of that real full ownership of the process, that's what makes us a little bit different, a little bit more able to respond to changes, to needs, to feedback. And ultimately, we hope deliver an experience that really stands out as a best in class experience when you work with us. So a couple quick facts here. We are rated A minus by AM Best, or I like to pronounce that A hyphen. So excellent financial strength. We also are writing all of our policies on the most legally tested forms of the market, the ISO BOP forms. What I think you'll all really love, though, is that we've built a 100% digital, fully streamlined process where you will never have to look at an Accord form. You'll never be asked to fill out 45 pages of supplemental applications. And once you get that submission in, you don't have to do 3 weeks of back and forth emails with underwriting teams trying to firm up terms and get more information. And it always seems that that piece of information you find raises five more questions. That's just not how we like to operate here. In
Can I
fact,
can I jump in real quick, Dan? I just have a
of
quick
course,
anecdote on this. Our underwriters, one of the things that I love about our underwriters is that I see them in our sales channel all the time celebrating wins of policies that they've closed. They're just as motivated as a sales team to get policies on the books, and you really don't find that everywhere.
I know an underwriter who likes to say yes. When do you see that? Well, that's what we like to do here. And when you are working through our online platform, you'll find you'll get bindable terms back. Somewhere between 80 and 90% of policies can be quoted in 3 minutes or less. And we have a wide footprint as well. We're admitted today in 44 states and Washington, D.C. So some quick numbers here. I'm actually going to have to update this slide soon because in the second quarter this year, we also had 100% uptime on our platform. And that means that anytime somebody needed to access MGT to quote an account, bind a policy, help someone with a payment question, pull docs, issue certificates, etc., the platform was there. It was fully online, ready to go. It wasn't throwing up errors and loading screens. And so ultimately, we kind of see our role as being here to help you accomplish your goals. And the technology is there and stable and ready to do that. So let's talk about appetite. We are writing over 300 classes of business with a focus on small business. You'll find we're a great partner on artisan contractors, professional offices, medical offices, retail stores, barber shops, beauty parlors, nail salons, bakeries, grocery stores, restaurants with up to 50% alcohol sales, and more can all be a great fit with MGT. Now, again, we are focused on small business. To us, that means up to 3 million in revenue for most risks, up to 5 million revenue for professional and medical offices. We'll write up to 100 employees, up to 35,000 square feet's a good general rule of thumb, although there is a little nuance there from class to class. Up to 2 million total insured value in property per location, with up to 4 locations per policy. And don't hold yourself back and only send us the most perfect, nice, neat little risks that land on your desk. We can handle some tougher ones too. So if you've got a new venture, a business with no prior insurance, coverage lapses, claims history, those situations can all be eligible, and I'd encourage you to go ahead and submit those as well. So I do get caught all the time saying that we write just BOPs or we only write BOPs, etc. But the reality is we do a lot more than just the BOP. You've got a lot of different optional coverages that you can add in to really tailor that policy to the specific insured and their concerns and their needs. Some highlights here are the professional liability. We find this is very impactful for barbershops, beauty parlors, and nail salons. It's also available for photographers. Hired non-owned auto. It's available for some tough classes like artisan contractors, restaurants that aren't doing any self-delivery. Most of our office risks and a lot of our retail risks qualify as well. And then if we do have anybody joining us from a monopolistic workers' comp state, I did have to learn what workers' comp stopgap coverage is for you all. So I always like to highlight that that's available as well. So we've got some other optional coverages and sublimits, and these are built into the policy. The one real highlight that I'll leave you with on this page is that as you're working with MGT and our quoting system, you'll only see options for coverages that are bindable. It's not going to let you present terms that you can't stand behind. For restaurants, we do have some great extra coverages. They've got the premises security protections. They've got access to higher limits for spoilage and contamination, that higher non-owned auto we talked about. And if they're doing any valet operations, they can get coverage for damage to customers' property to cover those autos. For artisan contractors, they've also got some special coverages available. We can do up to $100,000 in sublimits for miscellaneous tools and equipment. If they've got the need for contractors' installation coverages, they can access those as well. That'll cover things like materials in transit at a job site being stored. So it may help replace or supplement inland marine policies so you don't have to go get a bunch of standalone coverages. So let's see now how it all works. So I'll start our journey here at mgtinsurance.com. For those of you who are following along, you can go there and then click on Appetite in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. That'll take you into our Appetite page, and then you can scroll down and you can communicate with Amy, our AI Appetite assistant. I really like to highlight this feature because it's so useful, and I know these kinds of can you do this, can you do that kind of questions come up all day long, come up after business hours, on weekends, on holidays, when it can be tough to get someone on the phone. But I want to show you, you've got access to Amy here 24/7, 365. Amy's a great resource. Let's say, can you write a sushi restaurant in, I don't know, Iowa, with 8,000 square feet, 25% alcohol sales, 15 employees, and 2 million sales? And so we're throwing a lot of information into that question. We are really giving Amy a lot to kind of crunch through. And you'll see in just a second, I mean, probably faster than I could have typed up a response to that question, Amy came back to us with an accurate answer. In this case, that's something that's out of appetite, but I wanted to throw in a little detail in there that would do that just so you could see kind of how it works through that information. It doesn't just answer the question, but also gives you some guidance to help find the bullseye for that next opportunity that lands on your desk. So the real fun, though, that's going to start when we click sign in. And I feel like I see an Amy just appeared on my screen.
That's what I was about to say. Like Amy's inspirational for all of us. We even make it didn't show up quite the way that I wanted to, but this is Amy art that has been made as well. We love Amy here, so we highly encourage her use.
Yes, absolutely. So the real fun that starts when we get logged in. Once you are signed in, you'll have options to start a quote. You may see an option to build your team. You can add any other users to your agency who should have access to the MGT platform. You can get quick access to more appetite questions. And then along the side, you've got options for home, policies, quotes, and user management, all fairly self-explanatory here. So let's go ahead and we'll start a new quote and see what that looks like. And we've got a pretty good group here today. I'm going to open up the floor. If anybody has a favorite restaurant, a favorite barber shop, beauty parlor, or nail salon, maybe a favorite lawyer or accountant or some other professional office kind of risk who sends you leads sometimes, use the chat, shout out the name of that business, and using just the name of the business, we'll be able to get a bindable quote back in just a few minutes. I've got my demo businesses in my back pocket. We can run with those if we need to, but I like to do this to show you, first off, how confident we are in the tech. It can be kind of scary to just open up a question like that. But also, I just think it's more fun when it's something that's relevant to you, so you can really see the tech in action.
And if y'all don't pick something, I'm just gonna tell Dan we should do our tried and true either Dan's Deli or Jason's Deli. We could try to find one of the audience members. Like I see we got like an Evan here. We could do Evan's Deli.
I
There's
like
bound to
that.
be one of those sitting around the country
Let's
somewhere.
see. Evans Deli and
There it
Grocery.
is in Connecticut.
Perfect. So we'll go ahead and start with that. Now, in my experience, almost every time we do this, we're able to find the business that we're looking for. Every once in a while, it might not have an online presence, or they might not even really have been created yet. You can always click enter business info manually to key in their name and their address and get started that way too. So what's happening behind the scenes as we go through this process is pretty impressive. We are going to look up over 3,900 different data points on this business. We're going to use that to classify the risk. We're going to use that to fill in a lot of the application questions, which you'll see as we go through the process. And it also surfaces a lot of important information to our underwriting team so that if they do have to review a referral, they don't have to go hunting for all the information on that account. It's all right in front of them. And so they can get to that decision so much faster. And ultimately, that just lets us turn accounts around at the speed that you need them because, everybody kind of expects that no matter what kind of business they are, it's going to be an instant quote type situation. So, as we go through this, one thing I do like to remind you, though, is that the tech is not completely perfect yet. We're about 90% confident that the answers that it comes back with are correct. There's a little daylight though between 90 and 100%. Just ask my parents when they were looking at my report cards in school. And, as you go through, it's not a race to just click continue, continue, continue as fast as you can. Make sure that information's accurate so that the quote that you get back at the end of the process is also fully accurate.
Yeah, and just a clarifying point, Dan does a really great job of making it really simple and accessible, but the reality is that the tech is working fantastically. It's those data points behind it. It's our third party vendors. They might return something that's a little bit outdated and you've got an insured with some newer figures or something like that. So that's why it's 90% is that we've vetted all these partners. We've gone through this process for over a year at this point, making sure that everything is good as possible for y'all, but nothing beats, and this is where you get Dan and I's obvious bias, but all of MGT's as well. Nothing beats the independent agents frontline underwriting. So get in there and make sure that everything looks good, but our hope is that it's a piece of cake for you and you can just sign off on all of it.
Absolutely. And so you'll see step one as classifying the risk, which our technology has done. And I think the classification here for Evans Deli as a deli or sandwich shop is probably right on the money. If we do need to update it, though, you can click this drop down box and then find the class code that might better describe that risk. Now, a lot of times I will get all kinds of questions like, hey, Dan, I got in here, I didn't see a classification for a dynamite factory. Is that something I can quote with you? If you don't see the classification in there, it's probably just not an appetite for us. But always feel welcome to reach out too. And I might know a great dynamite factory broker I can send you over to. They like to say business is booming.
Oh my gosh.
So first couple of questions here will always be the same. Uh, so we'll just click continue here, and then you'll start to see how our technology is pre-filling a lot of these questions for us. We'll go ahead and give them some alcohol sales, and then we'll click continue here, and we'll get into the next page of questions. You'll see it's found the year that it was established, the entity type, knows it's not a home-based business, identified the number of employees, and if we do need to make any changes as we go through, it's as easy as just keying in the updated information. We'll click continue again. We'll go ahead and give them some sales. Click continue. And then in this next page, we can add any additional insureds that we need to add. I do like to recommend adding them up front because there can be an additional premium for them. And so if you add them during the quoting process, that premium you get at the end will be fully accurate. It'll include those additional insureds. You can't always do them as a midterm adjustment after it's bound, but it's just easier for everybody if you can do that up front. So this might take a second to load on us, but here we go. We're ready to go. So we'll answer one question. We'll click add additional insured, and then we can just select the type of additional insured, key in their name and their address, answer a couple questions, and then that will be included for us when we receive the quote at the end of the process. Now, the building here is fairly straightforward as well. I like to do these as business personal property submissions because it is a little bit more of a streamlined experience. But even when we're quoting the building itself, that's fairly straightforward. And you'll really see our tech shine and start to pull a lot of those details that I know can be pretty tedious to go collect. A lot of times business owners might not know the construction type, especially in insurance terms. They might not know the square footage even, update years, things like that. So let our tech do some of the heavy lifting for you. So I think all this is looking really good. We can go ahead, let's just give them some tenants improvements and betterments. We can add any buildings if they had any other buildings to cover. We can add other locations if they've got other locations we need to insure. And then we'll click continue to go into the very last page of questions. We will keep the TRIA coverage on and then click continue again. And then in just a few seconds here, we should have a fully bindable quote ready to go. So As we get our quote back, we'll be able to update all the different sublimits and deductibles and really get it dialed in. The premium will update for us live as we go through, so you'll get to see that. And looks like it is just having a little bit of a slow day today. One thing I will note is I am working on our demo system, which is kind of on like the second string backup servers. So you'll see as you go through this. In fact, we're moving into a new office, so someone might have even stepped on the kite string connecting those things to the internet. Um, you'll see as you go through this on the live, like your version of the platform, it's a lot faster.
It might have
Uh,
been me. I knocked water all over the laptop yesterday. It was great.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I had my suspicions.
Yeah, yeah. It's a common occurrence.
So we were able to get a premium back here. And from here, if we scroll down, you can see all these sublimits. We can update these as needed. And again, you'll only see bindable options. We can scroll all the way down to access some of these optional coverages. Let's say we wanted to add hired non-owned auto. We'll just check the box. We'll apply that to all the locations. And then you'll see here in the upper right-hand corner, that premium will update for us.
We got a
So this,
question. Oh, sorry, Dan.
oh
I,
no,
ca-
go
I
ahead.
I try to interject at the right time, and you're just so smooth with
I just talk
everything.
so
It's fun.
much, I know.
Well, no, I said smooth. I said smooth. No, Evan had a really great question. Is CA a state you want business in?
I think we want business in every state, really. Like, bring it on.
Yeah, you're talking to the sales guys here. Yeah, for sure. We are so in certain so you'll see on our website that we're not publishing that we're open in CA yet. And that's because we've launched it with certain partners. Reach out to us, Evan. We can make sure that you can get some access if you like it. We're happy to open it up to you.
Absolutely. That was a great question. So just back to here, again, we'll make all those updates that we need to make, the premium updates for us, so we can kind of keep track of the impact of those changes. And then once everything's dialed in, we'll click Update Quote to lock those changes in. Now, this is what we would consider the live version of the quote. When we download the quote letter, it will include those changes we just made. And when we send everything over to the insured, that'll reflect those changes we just made as well. So now let's take a look at the binding process. To do that, we'll click Continue to Bind. We'll confirm our effective date. And then next step is we'll enter in the contact information for the policyholder. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. And now, once we click that confirm and send to insured button, it's going to trigger over an email to the policyholder with a link that they can use to finalize the purchase of the policy. It's usually pretty fast. A lot of times when you're at this point, like speed is really important and you want to make sure you're confident that it's going to go out. I've learned that if I just talk about it for about 15 seconds, that's long enough. It just hit my inbox as I spoke. Um, so it really is that fast. Now, on this screen, you'll see that we can keep track of what's happening with that link. So if you need to follow up with the insured, you'll be able to go into that conversation, kind of knowing where they're at in the process before you even pick up the phone or shoot over that email. So one thing that is available, a lot of people overlook, is this copy share link button. You can click that and you can use that to either send the link over to the policyholder if maybe they didn't get our email, or you just want to give it that kind of extra personal touch. You can also open a new tab, which I'll do here and paste it in, and then go to that link. And then you can use that to kind of walk through the process with or for them and help them get everything over the finish line.
Yeah, and it's a really great call out. On occasion, we do have agents reach out to us to say that like an insured is not tech savvy. They don't have the technology to do it. They simply are just adverse to it. And so as long as you have the legal authority to do it and you have all the information, you can complete the entire process on their behalf if you need to.
Mhm. And so this is actually exactly what it's going to look like from the insured's perspective as well. First thing we'll do is select our payment terms. If you do want to do quarterly or monthly, you can click View Payment Schedule to see exactly what each installment will be and when it will be due.
Another
So we'll
great
click
question,
Continue
and
here.
Dan.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Another one from Evan. Evan's got the good questions today. Y'all got to keep up with him. So regarding the claims handling, are adjusters a third party or do they work directly for MGT?
That's a great question. We do use third-party adjusters from a company called Davies. They're able to really be very responsive, and even if we have a insured property that has a loss in an extremely rural area, we can still get somebody out there pretty quick. But we do have in-house management of those claims, and so we do still continue to play a role even if we are using third-party adjusters.
Yeah, so just to kind of back up, Dan, it's like we've had some amazing reports on how well it's all gone, but we're here to support you as well if you ever need to reach back out because you're struggling with an adjuster or something like that. And what's more is that as we're growing as a company, you all will see in the news here very soon. We're going to be releasing about some of the partnerships that it is that we've had that have their own claims teams. And as we grow, we'll continue to incorporate those. And I think that you'll see us taking more and more of that in-house over the next like 6 to 12 months.
So the next step in the purchase process is to e-sign the documents. I think everyone can really appreciate this, especially I know we've got probably multiple people on this call who have gone through the signing process and then had somebody get back to them and say, hey, you forgot your signature on page 82. I'm going to need you to redo that whole thing for me and send it back. With the MGT, all you've got to do is give it the squiggle. Everybody always loves how fast and easy it is. We'll agree to e-signing. And then you can click Start Signing. It'll go through page by page so you can't miss anything. Or what I'll do here is just click Sign All to sign everything all at once and knock it all out. Now, all those documents then get emailed over to the policyholder. Those also just hit my email just to give you an idea of how fast that is. And they'll also be available to you in the platform in case you need to go back and reference those in the future. You don't have to dig through, the 8 million emails you've received since those were bound. Last step here is to complete payment. I will give you a heads up. There are transaction fees that are charged by our payment vendor. Generally, it's most cost effective to go through ACH. So we'll select that option and then we'll just enter the payment information.
While you're entering that, Evan had another great heater of a question. Can my agents charge a broker fee when issuing a policy?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. Now, there are some workarounds. If you've got an agency account, you could pay through the agency account and separately invoice the insured. But there is not a way to do that entirely within the MGT platform.
So, but they, yeah, yeah. So just to elaborate that on that a little bit further, we don't restrict you from doing it, right? So just because the laws on that can vary from state to state, we weren't interested in policing that, making that necessarily, yeah. So the answer is yes, they can. We just expect that you'll handle that on your end.
Exactly. And so now we'll go ahead and click complete transaction. As soon as that goes through, we've got the invoice number, so we know that's been completed. And then you'll also receive receipts in your email, so everybody has a paper trail that this transaction occurred. And when we go back to the platform, you'll see these checkboxes update for us, and then we'll be able to review the policy details. And so it really is just that fast. If you've got somebody who just really needs to get it over the finish line so they can get certificates, get those over to job owners or cert holders, really you could have a certificate within 7 or 8 minutes of starting the quote. Um, Once you are in the policy details page, this is actually a favorite of a lot of service teams because it has so much good information and it's right here at your fingertips. You don't have to go hunting for it. You can see the policy period. You can see its status. Right now, it's pending. Once they've been issued, they'll reflect that. If it's ever canceled, it'll reflect that as well. So it just helps you very quickly keep in touch with what's happening on that policy. You've got limit information. You can see all kinds of good payment info. including whether auto pay is on, whether it's active. You could see the balance and what's been paid. You can click view payment schedule again to see when each payment is due, download receipts, download invoices. You could download all those signed documents. And then in the exposures page, you can kind of see what's on the application. So if somebody just needs to know, hey, what's my BPP limit? That information's available, and you don't have to go hunting through the 135-page policy document to find it. I also like to highlight the quick actions button. Here you can generate a certificate of insurance, and then once payment's a little bit closer to being due, there's another option in there to send an automated payment reminder. And that's something that service teams really go bonkers for because that can be a lot of work and it just takes it right off their plate. And again, kind of lets the technology do the hard part. So let's go back to the deck. And I'll give you a couple examples of some accounts that we've written recently. I think the ones on the screen do a pretty good job of showing the types of accounts that we've been a good fit for. I would say, in addition to these, one thing we've been seeing a lot of lately, and these tend to be really great accounts, are grocery stores. Now, we're not necessarily looking for like the big supermarkets or the Costco's out there, but if you've got kind of a smaller community grocery store, those can be a great fit. We tend to see a lot of those. If they are doing some food preparation, that's completely fine as long as it's not really like a full-blown restaurant business in the grocery store. If they've got butchers, if they've got seafood departments, that's completely acceptable. So those can be really good accounts to think of MGT for because I know they can be tough to place.
Yeah.
We also have been doing really well with some medical office classes. Lately, I've actually been seeing a lot of chiropractors come through, which is kind of an interesting one. We've been doing really well with professional offices. We've got such a broad appetite for those. It's hard to say like this or that kind of class is really standing out, but just in general, it's a really strong performing segment for us. And of course, restaurants where we can write up to 50% alcohol sales can be a very good fit as well. And so I definitely encourage you to keep us in mind on those types of accounts. And then last slide here, and I'll keep this one up on the screen for the rest of our time together. What you just got to see today is the mighty good technology in action, there to make your life easier. What you'll get to see as you work with us a little bit more is the mighty good team that's here to stand behind the tech and continue to deliver on that promise to make things fast and easy for you. You've got me. I'm sure everybody's sick of my voice, but if you want some more insurance puns, always feel welcome to reach out. All my contact info is on the screen. You've got Annalise too, who you'll definitely hear from as you have a chance to really get in the platform and start working through some quotes. She's a fantastic resource and a great advocate for you as well.
And she
Uh,
sits right there.
yeah, I hope your audio is on so she could hear that.
I'll tell her you
And
said it. It's all right.
and then we also have a great support team. They are available by phone and email as well, but actually I do like to pretty strongly recommend reaching out to them through the chat when that's an option for you, because it gives them some extra context, like what page that you're looking at, what quote you're working on, and so they can help you just that much faster. And then Amy, who we all met at the beginning of the call, she is just sitting there waiting for your appetite questions 24/7, 365. So I'll open up the floor again. I know we did kind of breeze through that, but if anybody has any last questions, anything we saw that you kind of want to dig into more, anything you didn't see that you're curious about, please use that chat and let us know because you've got our time and our focus. We're here to help.
Our pleasure, Fabiana. It's like we've said several times, it's our favorite part of the week. So glad to have you here. Y'all,
Absolutely.
Dan and I try to play Stump Dan every single week, and it just doesn't happen. I haven't had some really great ones, but
Those
still
were
not
good.
stumping Dan.
That might be one of the first times somebody's actually asked about the claims processes here. So I really appreciate that one.
Yeah, me too. Which I always find a little bit surprising because I know that that's top of mind for a lot of agents and insureds. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Because even if most people don't ask it, I know they think about it.
Yep. I've definitely heard people say that's really the only time your insurance policy matters.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Well, we're not getting any other questions in, so I'll ask you one last one that I'm sure is on everyone's mind too. What does MGT stand for?
That's a great question. That does come up all the time. But this afternoon, I think MGT stood for Mighty Good Time. I know I've had one. Hope you have too. If you enjoyed the show today, jump in the platform, run a couple quotes. That's how I know I did a good job. You can always reach out to Jason, send him a message on LinkedIn or shoot him over an email. Let him know I did a good job. And again, thank you so much for taking some time for us today. We're really excited to be working with you. And if you do need any extra support along the way, always feel welcome to reach out. We're here to help.
Appreciate y'all. Have a great day.